Hi friends, look at this glorious camera angle. Hello, welcome to another exciting video from your boy Cranberry Enthusiast. Is the car gonna back up? Okay. But hello everybody, how's it going? I have had quite the time. And I've been thinking a lot recently, and I've been kind of trying to start doing it, but I haven't begun until now, hypothetically, unless somehow I don't post this video, but I want to start making a lot more off-the-cuff videos, kind of like video journals, basically. I mean, I kind of already have been doing that, and over on my Patreon, if you search Cranberry Enthusiast on Patreon, if you're rich and you are interested in financially supporting me, that's one of the benefits you can get. We're kind of getting it a little bit deeper into my creative process. I've been doing videos like that, and anyway, so... But yeah, it's been quite the time. So this is the first of what will hopefully be a whole series of crazy, off-the-cuff, unscripted videos where I want to make more content. I want to engage more with the people around me. And apparently, since you're watching this, you're one of the people around me, so hello. But yeah, so welcome to this channel. If you're new to this channel, or even if you're not, you probably are like, or I don't know, but you may be like, what on earth is this channel? What's the theme of this channel, the Cranberry Enthusiast channel? It's basically my life. So we've got some music, we used to have some skits, we have pseudo weird radio drama things, we've got vlogs. I want to do more vlogs too, so for this initial discussion, I suppose, I think it would probably, I'll give you a not perfect, but doing my best picture of kind of a summary of some like weird health issues / mental health issues I've been dealing with recently. And so yeah, so if that's something you're interested in, feel free to keep listening if you want to hear the recent chapters of parts of my journey. And if not, definitely feel free to go watch something else. I am not, that's another thing too. It's like, I mean, yes, it's cool to post videos and to get engagement and stuff, so definitely please feel free, having trouble speaking, please feel free to engage all you'd like, and please leave your comments and questions and concerns down below. I will do my best to get to them when I can. As for these off-the-cuff videos, unscripted, whatever, kind of need a name for this series, I guess. Although I don't want to use off the cuff, because I think there's already a video series called Off the Cuff. Don't really want to do unscripted either, because I think there's a few albums that are... There's an album called Scripted. Maybe not unscripted, I don't know. We'll figure it out, won't we? Actually, feel free to leave your comments and questions and suggestions for what this unscripted video series should be called. Feel free to leave that down below. Could be even just Cran's video journals, I suppose. Also, again, apologies for the less than stellar camera angle. That's a whole other story in and of itself. I will probably get to at some point. I will also, I should have just started with this disclaimer. Again, these are unscripted, off-the-cuff videos. I don't know what I'm gonna say. I don't know how things are gonna come across. I may well say something that I don't even agree with, even as I'm saying it, whether I'm realizing it or not. So I may, it may just be all over the place. I may say something that, again, like, I don't know. So if something seems weird, I mean, definitely feel free to, again, leave all your comments and questions and concerns down below. But just know that if something seems, if I'm like saying something weird or something, then either one, I am saying something weird because I do that time to time. Not weird in a bad way, but like, I just feel free to check out the Amelia Earhart series, or the Disaster Piece Theater if you want even weirder. And you'll kind of see what I mean there. But anyway, so again, unscripted, who knows? Who knows what I'm gonna say? We're all on the edge of your seat, our seats, whatever. I'm right here with you. Anyway, so, but to get into kind of my topic at hand. So, yeah, August 2023 to August 2024 to now, as I'm filming this, quite the change. So, in August 2023, I was busy, and in August 2024, I still am busy. In fact, and I've recently been thinking, you know, busy is not a bad thing in and of itself. It's actually a good thing. If you are busy, or well, I should say, it's not also necessarily a good thing. It's a neutral thing. Although, it's basically, you know, it's better to be busy with good things than to be not busy with good things, I guess, is kind of what I'm trying to say. Man. See, this one of the reasons why I've scripted so many things, and I mean, why the process has just been insane, is because sometimes I just word things really, really strange. You can ask lots of people who know me, and even some people who don't really know me. And you yourself are probably aware of that by now. But if you're still here, then maybe you're finding some entertainment value or some type of thing. And so thank you. Thank you for hanging out. So, but anyway, yeah, so my journey. So, I felt pretty good in August. I was doing lots of stuff. I was working overtime pretty consistently at my primary job, I like to call it. Working for a popped sorghum company. And I'm still there as of right now as well. So, but back in August of last year, I was only about, what, like 4 months into the job, so it was still a fairly new thing. It still is kind of a fairly new thing now that I'm getting closer to a year and a half. So, but still. So I was busy with that, busy with a lot of creative projects and stuff, and also busy with other volunteer stuff. That a lot of my volunteer stuff is tied to music in some way. So I was playing for Sunday morning church services, for different youth group stuff, as well as playing with other musicians and stuff, or meeting with other people, which is anyway, all really good stuff. Like, looking back at August 2023, I mean, I was feeling fine, and a lot of stuff I was doing was really fine. And actually, of August of last year, I was like really sick, and that threw a huge monkey wrench into my plans for July of 2023. And so I was like recovered in August, and so August last year felt like a really good recovery month. It was really, really positive. So, and yeah, little did I know though, I mean, I was kind of working myself to the bone, and I didn't really have any specific boundaries, or like let me put it this way, I wasn't prioritizing my sleep, and I also wasn't really prioritizing my mental health either. Kind of my mindset in the back of my head, from what I remember of that time, was like, yeah, things will just balance out, and you know, it's I think I just, I'm busy, and yeah, it'd be great to have more time by myself, and to rest and recharge, and because as an introvert, I get a ton out of that, and I found I can get in pretty negative emotional states when it's been a while since I've had breathing room, so to speak, which is a whole other topic in and of itself. But anyway, I kind of didn't really see a lot of options, because I was like, I mean, what do I do here? There's already lots of stuff that I want to do that I'm not doing, and like everything that I'm doing, I want to do to an extent. And sure, some things are funner than others, some things are more fulfilling than others, Some things earn more money than others. Some things are, yeah, but it's like, you know, okay, what do I shave off here? Especially when I'm like spread in so many different directions. And even there, I mean, even other stuff I was doing too, that on the smaller level. So it was like, I had a lot of different circles, and still do have a lot of circles, social circles, and different things and events and things that I was involved in. And yeah, it was all really good stuff, except it was not sustainable. And I made it through September, and I made it through October, still feeling good and fine. And then in November of last year, so November 2023, early on, I started feeling really, really tired. Tired in ways, I mean, because for most of my life, dealing with insomnia and stuff, especially in high school and college, and it was like, I'm used to being tired is what I'm trying to say. But now the exhaustion that I was feeling, it was just like, I started just having lots of low energy days and not really being able to do lots of stuff, or like not feel up to doing a lot of different stuff. And it just, yeah, it also was affecting my mood too, because it was like, I want to be doing this rejuvenating stuff, and you know, when the little places where I have time to like kind of like, you know, rest or do things that are, it's like maybe not, but it's like a type of mental rest where I'm like actively doing stuff, but it's things that are like mentally rejuvenating and positive for my mental health, such as different like creative outlets, to use that as probably the simplest, most encompassing example. But anyway, but then I was also like, I got into a state where I was like, okay, so I know I'm, you know, got lots of stuff going on. I want to make sure, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm not really prioritizing rest and sleep and things like that. I mean, I'm not getting horrible sleep. I'm getting, you know, 5, 6, sometimes 7 hours of sleep each night. So, but still, it's like, that's a consistent thing, and I only have one day each week to sleep in a little bit, and even then I don't always sleep in, because my body will I'll wake up and then I won't get back to sleep. So I knew that was impacting things. But then I did, well, like, okay, so there's 24 hours in a day, 7 days a week. So each week, if I remember the math, you can check me on this if you'd like, but it was something like 168 hours each week. 168 hours. And so I was like, oh, okay, so let me kind of divide this here, let me divide divide the time I have each week into the different activities. And obviously I'm not going to be super specific about it. Things come up, sometimes things don't happen in a week, you know, things vary. So I can't expect to have each week to look exactly the same, nor do I, if really deep down, nor do I want every week to look exactly the same. I really like a semblance of routine and to, you know, be making positive progress and stuff, but I can also get bored when things are too mundane and not exciting enough and whatnot. So anyway, so I was, anyway, I started mapping those things out, and like, you know, and I'm like, oh, okay, so I need to make sure I'm getting adequate sleep, and, you know, I want to make sure that I have time to, you know, work on my creative endeavors and practice music, and you do like creative writing or like video editing, different stuff that brings me personal fulfillment and like gives me energy that I feel like then I can share with other people, and stuff like that, which that in and of itself has just been that I could have a whole video talking about my relationship with creative work, and often a lot of guilt and weird stuff I've felt with doing things that personally benefit me without a lot of obvious benefit to other people. But that's, anyway, whole other topic. So I start mapping this out, and I realized pretty quickly, you know, adding in all my work time, all my volunteer time, and including, I mean, at this point, well, like, it depends on how you categorize it, but anyway, I was just adding up like all my consistent activities and kind of what things look like, and, you know, making sure, okay, so if I get 8 hours of sleep and then like a couple hours before bed to like wind down, you know, different stuff like that, just kind of like mapping it out. I realized pretty quickly that, I can't remember the exact number, but it was like something like I needed an extra day, an extra 24-hour period to actually fit in everything. And so that kind of was a bit of a warning where I'm like, okay, that's actually really depressing. But then I'm like, okay, well, what do I do here? Because I'm like, again, all the stuff I'm doing, it's all good stuff. And there's nothing I'm doing that I don't want to be doing, with various degrees. I mean, obviously, again, some things I get more enrichment out of than others, or that type of stuff. So there's, you know, different factors. But I was like, well, I mean, I don't really know. I guess, you know, I'll just keep kind of going along. And then I actually did, like in mid-November, there was a period of time where I was like, okay, I think what I'm just gonna do is, like, I'm kind of gonna do what I feel like I'm supposed to do, and I'm just gonna like avoid, for about a week, avoid doing like things that I personally find fulfilling, or like so like my creative work and different stuff like that. I'm just gonna like focus on, you know, trying to get better sleep while still also juggling, you know, all my tasks and all the different stuff that I'm doing. And so you may be wondering how that went. It really did not go so well. And like, yeah, which in hindsight, I think I was using a lot of like the personal energy, like emotional energy that I got from working on, say, like creative projects and endeavors. Like I was still getting a lot of energy with that. And when I pulled it all away, it was like I lost that energy source. And then I still wasn't getting great sleep, and I still, lots of stuff going on, and, you know, life happens and stuff. Sometimes your animals, your pets die, and sometimes you have weird times. Sometimes the weather's really weird. Anyway, so all this accumulated, so I started really noticing that. Oh, and the other thing I noticed too, especially throughout November, I started feeling weird sometimes, especially like if I got up early and I was out and about. Like, I started feeling weird when, say, I was like playing music on stage, to the point where I was like, am I gonna pass out on stage just because I'm like so tired? And so that was kind of a freaky experience. I don't know if you can relate to that or not, but if you can, well, I'm so sorry that you've had to deal with stuff like that, because at least from what I was dealing with, it was awful. So anyway, but then, so that was November. Then December happened. And December kind of, my life blew up. Not entirely, but the main thing is my insomnia came back really strongly, and I'm of course dealing with lots of stress and other like emotional issues with, I mean, related to that too. And so it's like, it was just like, it felt like my body was like rejecting a pathogen, so to speak, that had become my life, which is a really weird thing to say, but it was like, yeah, so my insomnia came back. I had one full sleepless night and then a lot of nights of not very good sleep and stuff. And at this point, I'm already dead exhausted. I don't have reserves to draw from to get me through stuff. So I, with the help of my family and friends, but seriously, with people's help, because I was not even in a state to, like, I stepped away from a lot of different aspects. So I stepped away from, like, my volunteer work for a while. I stepped away with meeting with different people, which actually for some people that I had been meeting with consistently, they were also really busy in December, and so it actually kind of coincided really nicely. My psychological crash, as I've been calling it coincided nicely in some ways. But man, so anyway, so I started pulling away from things. I still, like, stayed with my job, and I still was able to, like, because I mean, now I'm older and I have bills to pay, so I still got to be responsible and making money and stuff. And if someone disagrees, then we can have a whole other conversation about that. But yeah, so I was not in a good way in December of 2023, and I was exhausted all the time. No matter how much sleep I got, especially as I began prioritizing sleep, it just wasn't good. I didn't come away feeling rested, really, and it was, like, really rough. It thankfully was not getting worse, but it was really rough. And then in the midst of all that too, I began experiencing a lot of really weird psychological and physical impacts to my body, which I believe currently now, these were the direct results of a lack of sleep combined by unkept stress, or stress that, like, constant stress, or things that are constantly things that stress me out, as well as just, I mean, I've dealt with lots of, like, anxiety and depression and stuff throughout my life, which we can have a whole other conversation about, like, that type of stuff. But I know that definitely the anxiety played a role into things too. So there were those main things that contributed to me experiencing some pretty scary physical effects. Like, probably one of the worst was where basically, so here's an example of how things would happen. I would be sitting at my desk at my primary job, and I'm sitting there, and I'm sitting there, not really doing much. I mean, I'm not moving around much is what I'm saying. I should, yeah, like, I'm doing a lot, actually. I should say I'm doing a lot, like, mentally, but anyway, but my physical body, I'm not moving around very much. And so, basically, my body is like, okay, we're not moving, we're exhausted right now, we need sleep, we need to, like, we don't have really a lot of extra energy to be, you know, keeping things running at full capacity. And actually, you know, it'd be great to kind of be asleep, or at least, you know, be really low energy right now. And of course my brain is still operating at a decent capacity, because anyway, my brain then notices, oh, my heart rate's slowing down, my like, my organs are slowing down, I must be dying. That's, like, what my brain thinks, because my brain detects, oh, all right, I'm dying, that's not good. So what my brain does, or what my brain did in those moments, is basically send, like, an electrical signal that I could almost feel from my brain to my heart, to kick my heart into overdrive. So my heart goes from beating normally, just kind of slow, and then just suddenly it just kicks into overdrive, and, like, it, you know, wakes me up. But it along with that is accompanied by a crazy, terrifying, super strong dose of anxiety. because like my brain subconsciously, or like my brain, the animal part of my brain that, or the motor part that controls everything, thinks I'm dying. Then my, like the active part of my brain then like kind of catches on to that, and it's be like, am I dying right now? And then so a lot of my like mental health or mental like anxiety, that type of stuff, kind of feeds in with that, which of course doesn't really help. Then now my heart beating like crazy. And anyway, and then usually it subsides after that, because now my heart's beating, I'm getting more oxygen to my brain, I'm kind of okay, I'm awake again. But man, it is, and I hope you can't relate to what I'm talking about. If you can, I am so sorry again, because it is absolutely horrible. And yeah, it's, you know, I really would not wish that on anybody. And it's a horrible thing. So one thing you can learn from today, which hopefully you already know, but it's like, sleep is really important. I don't know where you're at right now, but please, for like really prioritize your sleep, please, because I can't even imagine. I can't imagine how some people deal with that type of stuff. But anyway, so that was one thing, and I was like experiencing this on like an almost daily basis. Sometimes it would happen like a couple times each day, and like with that too, it's like it feels like I'm passing out or dying or falling asleep or whatever, and I'm having to grab onto things to like steady myself, and I'm like, what's going on? And then so, you know, lack of sleep and anxiety mixed together, and like one feeds off the other, because when you're anxious, it's harder to actually fall asleep when it's time to sleep. And then the less sleep you get, the less energy you have to deal with stress and anxiety in positive ways. And so that's a notable part with that. So anyway, so that's one thing. Another thing that was really weird that I kind of began experiencing a little bit later as the months went on and 2024 rolled around, but I became like, I would have anxiety in big open spaces. It was like the opposite of claustrophobia, to where I like walking across a parking lot to my car, I would feel like, oh, I don't know if I can make it. It feels like I'm gonna fall over. And me being a rather tall person, it's like, it feels like I'm just going to, like, you know, like, what if I fall over here? What if I pass out? Or like entering a big building, which, funny enough, that wasn't the first time I experienced that type of stuff. I also greatly experienced that to an extent back in 2019, 2020, back when I was also dealing with not very good insomnia. So one thing I've learned is that if I go for a long time without getting enough sleep, I start to be afraid of wide open spaces. And I would get to the point where, you know, I would run around, or like go on runs in different areas and stuff for exercise and to listen to music, and, you know, it's an enjoyable thing. And the few times now where I was able to do that during that period, there were lots of times where I was like, I'm just so exhausted. And I also, like, unless I'm running in an area where like there's like enclosure, or like if I'm running between like trees and stuff where it's not a huge wide open space, it's like I just experienced just such incredible anxiety. And it's really weird. I'll be the first to admit, it's really weird, and also not very good. So that was another thing that I was really dealing with there. And and then of course just like chronic fatigue, which I think there's an actual chronic fatigue syndrome that like a few months ago I went through like the symptoms of that, and I was like, I think that's kind of what I have even to this day. But just being so exhausted, I'm not finding joy in things I used to find joy in. I don't have the energy to do things that I love to do, and kind of as a result, I no longer really feel feel a huge love or drive to do these things. I'm just kind of like, meh, going through the motions. I don't really have an interest in doing lots of stuff, which of course impacts, I mean, that's partly with my mental health, and then, you know, so those are like just a few of like the main examples of what I was dealing with. And man, it still, and unfortunately, I mean, even like now where I'm in a much better state, and I'll get to that hopefully before the end of this video, but it's like I'm still not fully back to normal, and to the point where every now and then I will get a spike of anxiety being in a wide open space, or my heart will like get that skipping a beat, going into overdrive type thing, because my brain thinks I'm dying or whatever. And so it's there's still so it's, anyway, but again, thankfully things have gotten a lot better. So anyway, but I was dealing with that and different things. Sometimes it would vary week to week what's the main health issue or mental health issue I'm currently dealing with. I mean, I went through a whole phase too where I was afraid not of death, but I was afraid of dying. And I was afraid of my plane crashing, or just me having a heart attack and dying there, or just really weird stuff. And so anyway, it was, I mean, really a horrible time. And it also combined too, because I was I'm just feeling miserable, and I don't want to feel miserable. I'm one of the most optimistic and happy people that I know. And sure, sometimes I will force that, but in general, I like to be a happy, optimistic person. And so not really being able to find that and to have that is just pretty devastating. And it was also frustrating too, because for example, on Christmas Eve, my family went over to my grandparents' house, and it was really cool. But pretty much the entire time at my grandparents' house, I felt like I was gonna pass out. And I was I wanted to be here. I wanted to be present. I want to be there. And it's, it's Christmas, and I want to, but it's I feel like I'm half dreaming. I feel like I'm not even actually here. And so anyway, it was just horrible, man. So that, yeah, it's not good. So fortunately, as time went on, and as I began prioritizing my sleep more, kind of also coming to terms with different things, and I did listen to a lot of mental health books and stuff. None that were extremely life-changing, but one of them that I went through is a book called No More Mr. Nice Guy. And whereas it's not a perfect description of me per se, but there were so many things in there that I'm man, this fits me to a T. It's it. So it was, that was good. I should also mention too, I went to the doctor and stuff as well and got checked out. I had different things, and so it, I was really being active and trying to recover and stuff like that as quickly as I could, which I don't know if that forestalled my recovery, or I don't know exactly, but yeah, there's a lot of stuff. So, but anyway, as time went on and winter melted into spring and the spring went on, I began to feel and be and do better and stuff. And then May came around and I felt even better. It was all just kind of a really slow incline. It was in July though. In July, I really I started feeling like I was like 60% back, and I started actually feeling that to an extent to where I felt more interest in things, and I began reincorporating other volunteer stuff. Although, I mean, even as of right now, there's a lot of stuff that I do that my heart's kind of not really in it, in the way it once was, to where it's not in it for personal enjoyment, I should say. There's a lot of things I do now merely as like acts of service or like self-sacrificial love, basically. I'm like sacrificing this time and energy that I have that I could be, you know, doing something to revigorate myself or to revitalize myself or whatever, and instead I'm using it to like give in this particular way, whether it's my time or energy or sometimes money or stuff like that. So yeah, so still about there, but one major difference between where I am now and where I was a year ago, I feel like I actually have boundaries now. They're not great boundaries. I still feel like I need to better exert them, or like, so to speak, but I do feel like for instance now, like there's a lot of times where I'd be like, try to make more things work, and I'm like, hey, I gotta remember, I can't just prioritize something that someone's asking me about. I have other things to prioritize, and like my health is obviously something that I gotta prioritize. And it's been a positive thing, kind of breaking through a lot of like the paradoxes and just negative things that have been rolling around in my brain. Like with a lot of things, I'm the kind of person who like, I'll be told not to do something, and then so I won't do that, and then I'll do actually like the exact opposite and go like super far, crazy far in the other direction. Like, you know, I'll hear someone say like, you know, it's not a good thing to you know, just only do whatever you feel like doing, so to speak. I mean, that's a pretty basic one. I feel like most of us can agree with that, if we're being, you know, fully honest and with ourselves and our current situation. Yeah. But what I would do is go entirely in the opposite direction, to where now I'm like, okay, so what you're saying is I should never do something that like I feel like doing, and that's just not true. Just because and here's something I've really had to learn, and it sounds probably so basic, but I've really struggled with this. Just because I feel good towards something, or because I enjoy something, or I genuinely, you know, get some positive thing from it, it doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It doesn't mean I shouldn't do it. It doesn't mean it's not true. It also, you know, that alone obviously doesn't mean that it is true, or that I should do it, or things like that, but it's like, you know, I mean, in fact, there are some things that I actually, let's think about it now, it's like things that I should do objectively that I wasn't doing because I was like, well, I want to do that. So it's like, you know, it feels like I'm being selfish here. And so, yeah. So, as I'm getting close to finishing up this first off-the-cuff video, probably going to be a lot longer than most of my other off-the-cuff videos. Most of the time I'm not driving this long. But there's all kinds of stuff. Feel free to leave any comments or questions down below, or if there's anything specific that you would like me to go into more detail about. I'll probably have a video where I talk about all the car trouble I've had this year. It's just been so crazy. As well as like my other creative different things I'm looking forward to. Anyway, lots of stuff, but where I'm at right now, I'm not feeling great. I feel like I'm 70% recovered from my psychological crash, but I also feel like I'm kind of like stagnating there. I don't really notice myself getting a whole lot better in a lot of different ways. But I am growing really positively, and yeah, still dealing with lots of issues and rolling with the punches and stuff, but I'm blessed to say things are like I was really felt last year. Things are moving forward and moving forward positively, which I'm very grateful for. So also, thank you so much for watching this. I mean, if you're watching this, you stayed to the end, which I'm like, kind of blows me away, because again, I'm not really making these so that, you know, as content, or because I really think that like people are just dying for this type of content. But you know, if you have been watching and listening to this and enjoying it in any way, hey, I really appreciate that. I thank you for your interest in and I don't know, maybe you're someone I know in real life and you're like, wow, Jared is a lot different on camera than he is in person. It's like, I know. That's a whole other thing, the ways that I mask without really making like super conscious decisions and different stuff like that. It's that anyway. That's something else I could talk about, but oh dear. I'm trying to find a place to park, but yeah, I guess I'm parking down here, everybody. So, but thank you so much for watching, and again, planning on doing a lot more of these, so definitely feel free to leave your comments and questions down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Have fun, y'all. Oh wow, 42 minutes. It's maybe the longest video I've ever put on YouTube. Wow. All right. See you all later. Have a great time.